SEO Conspiracies.
Bonjour, Laurent.
Bonjour, Monsieur Dixon.
Oh, Mr. Borelli.
Is it
low rent?
Yeah, so especially today, but it's getting a little bit more and more difficult. Can you rank one page for several keywords? I mean, maybe you can, but should you?
If the keywords are semantically close, you can, and should. So there is no material difference between search engine optimization with an S and search engine optimization with a Z. So perhaps it shouldn't matter. And then certainly, I think Google does understand semantics and therefore will understand that some of these concepts are absolutely the same. However, as soon as you go away from that, I think it becomes more difficult. Because I think if you're going to say, right, I want to rank for Android and for iPhone, then clearly a Android versus iPhone review comparison kind of page is an interesting way to go. But really, that should rank for iPhone versus Android, not iPhone and Android. It should rank for when they're used together. So I think trying to rank for two different topics and ideas on the same page, bad idea. Trying to rank for two words or phrases that mean the same thing, yeah, that's doable and sometimes preferable. That's my view. What's yours?
It's tricky.
You disagree?
No, it's I say it's tricky. Fine. And to go back to example, in French, SEO it's the French word is called référencement, but we also use SEO, and it all goes back to the intent. From my point of view, again, just a guy, in my opinion, the persona, the client who is going to use référencement is more like old school, older, doesn't know much about SEO. The guy who is going to say use SEO is more techie, more. So depends who you're targeting, and you got to think about the intent and what words would the user choose to pick and to enter in Google. But moreover, from a practical point of view, it's good because let's take the example of the homepage, right? The homepage is usually the most powerful page of your website, so it's going to be easy to rank on several keywords. But the danger of that is when it's overpowering the rest of the site. And sometimes I see a homepage of especially e-commerce websites, a homepage that ranks for so many keywords. If you have, for example, the anchor text of the menu, right? It's going to rank for that keyword instead of the category of a product page because those pages are so weak compared to the homepage. And the problem with that is maybe it's easy SEO, but from a practical standpoint, it's very hard to perform as well on all those keywords. Meaning to be first, right? To be first is the goal. You were mentioning search engine optimization with Z or S. I didn't check, but are they performing as well, like your website, on one and the other?
So I think probably better is I think that so Moz ranks for SEO, and I bet you that Moz also ranks for search engine optimization, and I bet it's the same page. Let's go and have a look here. So Moz's Learning Center.
But with the Z and the S.
Okay, I don't know about that. I'm going to put in search engine optimization with the Z. Search engine land comes there. But Moz does come up number 2 there with a Z. And if I put it back to an S, so the results are exactly the same for search engine optimization, S or a Z. Now, admittedly, I'm looking at google.fr in England, and I'm getting US results. So clearly Google's got some work to do to try and get that match
what about
correctly.
Okay, so if we let's take another example. Well, it doesn't matter. Examples don't matter. What I'm saying is, if you are as powerful as Moz or Search Engine Land, maybe you can play that game because you are so powerful. The pages, right?
Yep.
Not the domain, but the pages have a lot of power, page rank and trust and all that stuff. But for the rest of us, I like to keep it simple. One page, one keyword. That's maybe a lot more work from a linking perspective, but from a keyword intent, from an optimization point of view, and so on. And like you said, maybe play with two keywords, similar keywords, close from a semantic perspective. Yeah, why not? Beyond two, it's getting difficult. Again, if you want to be number one everywhere.
I think we probably would go in slightly different directions. I mean, I think both directions are valid, but I think that I would try and make myself, I try to make myself a Moz or a search engine journal or search engine land or whatever, in whatever I'm trying to do. So, my previous, I had an agency first. I had a murder mystery company first. That was my first thing online. Tried to become the biggest player for online murder mysteries on the internet. Then ran an agency. And then Majestic. So Majestic, when we started, was two people.
You forget Webmaster World. You were one of the legends from.
Yeah, well, I was. Yeah, but that was all Brett though. But again, Brett, he created something of real power in Webmaster World. It was, the forum that everyone went to, and it still gets a lot of traffic. Yeah,
in the whole world.
And it has been. It's now not as strong as it was, but still, if you're going to go for a forum on SEO, what are your choices? Black Hat World, Webmaster World, or a Reddit channel? These are the main ones really, and the rest is, Facebook groups and things has kind of taken over, and people are in little groups now. But yeah, you don't have to be a multinational organization to be the best in the world at what you do. You just have to make sure that what you do is, has that uniqueness to it, and has that credibility to it, and has that gravitas. And my plan for Inlinks is to make it, just as influential as I think Majestic was in its time, in its own environment. I'm sure you're trying to do the same with your brand. So on that basis, it's brand marketing first for me. And then the keywords are helped by the fact that you've tried to get a brand that allows you to play that game. What I think is more important or more difficult is understanding. It's easier to understand, but harder to sort of fix. Is that it's not a good idea to try and get two pages ranking for the same key phrase. And what can happen with your strategy of create one keyword per idea is that those two pages then have a danger of cannibalizing each other.
True. Very true.
So the way around that, I suppose, is internal linking so that Google can see which one is the right one in what context. But if you're interlinking very similar ideas, then that might not be quite as clear cut as you might want. So it's
not true. I mean, it happens that Google doesn't pick up the right page. It does happen, and there's no unique truth. That's the beauty of SEO. What matters is, does it work or not? Are you reaching your goal? Are you happy with what happens? All we can say is that don't go overboard, right? One page for two, maybe three keywords, fine, no problem. But when I see the homepage ranking for half of the keywords, typical of an e-commerce website that just has all the links are pointing to the homepage. That homepage is super powerful, and you rank for everything. That's dangerous. So it's all about
example I've
common
got
sense.
Here actually is talking a little bit about the cannibalization. So I've got search engine optimization with an S on the screen, and search engine land is at the top. But the interesting thing is that 2 and 3 are both Moz pages. One's What is SEO, Search Engine Optimization 2020, and the other is Beginner's Guide to SEO. So clearly, if Moz decided to stop that cannibalization, I would imagine they would beat Search Engine Land right now for the phrase search engine optimization. But they might do it at the cost of one of those other phrases because they're taking those 2 pages and merging the content.
What you said previously is probably the key here. Is the idea is you got to cultivate your difference. Forget about being better than the other ones. It doesn't matter. But if you and take Dixon Jones as an example, how this guy was able to bring Majestic on the top of the SEO world just by himself. Dixon was traveling 5 days a week.
To be fair, they did have a pretty good web crawler.
But the public face, I mean, Dixon was on the road 5 days a week, every week, for how many years?
Best part of a decade, really. Yeah.
Decades. Think about it. Who is able to have this commitment? And I see all around the people who bust their balls, who do the work. Most of the people, and even in SEO, the worst enemy of SEO, the reason number one why it doesn't work is because you don't do anything. If you let it go, like Moz, for example, such a big site, okay, fine, I got 2 results on search engine optimization, but did I really think about the intent? Do I want to beat Search Engine Journal or Land or whatever, who is number one? Go from the big wide angle view to the macro, right? And once you get into this macro SEO, keyword per keyword, it gets interesting. So usually I would start from a wide strategy and go up to, you don't have that many really important keywords for your site, but work them very well one by one.
Yeah. It's a process we're trying to go through now on inlinks, and I think we will eventually get our inlinks SEO better than Majestic's ever was. So I think we never quite did all the things that you're supposed to do. We were cobbler's choosing a little bit in Majestic, and I think that's probably a regret. But we still managed to make the brand, so the brand that had its power, and I think that you have to build that brand anyway, and it has to be unique. If you want to rank for more than one thing, really. If you don't, then you're going to just be playing that chase the Google rankings forever and a day, and eventually Google will find you out, or the algorithm will change and you disappear from the rankings and you'll have no business. So you have to build a business that can survive without Google. And that's not an easy thing to do without a brand.
It's the most difficult, finding what makes you unique, what the unique value proposition. And let's take this podcast, for example. Many people, even Google himself, through Martin actually, spoke about SEO myth and legends.
Yeah.
But we are the idea. Our spin on it is what makes it unique.
I think you and I make a good mix for talking about those conspiracies, really. We've been in the industry, well, a lot longer than Martin has. I know that because he's too young. And of course, we're on a different side of the fence. So, Martin will always talk with that semi-official Google hat on, although he wears some pretty funny hats at times. And we will talk with the, we're on the SEO side of the fence kind of hat on, and so it's a different proposition. And I'm sure you could find 2 other SEOs kind of do a thing like this that would cover it. But why would they try and repeat what we're trying to do? There's a number of other different ways of doing it. I do another podcast with the Majestic branded ones once a month, which is old blood versus new blood. It's sort of two people that have been around the industry for 20 plus years and 2 people that have only been around for a decade.
That's cool.
But the difference in opinions is a good way to slice and dice and create a bit of uniqueness out of it.
Yeah, that's definitely maybe a discussion, not even for another day, for another channel like branding.
Maybe.
It
Yes.
seems obvious to us, but I know that for a lot of people, it's difficult to find this unique voice. But at least that's the way you should do it. And to end it up on this rank one page for several keywords, that page has to be unique. That page has to understand the intent behind the keyword. What does the visitor, I mean, anybody has questions or has problems, do you provide a solution? Do you provide an answer that's going to fit your values, where you come from, and also what that person wants? And there's enough people to have to find a common ground that's unique and more targeted rather than being broad. That's the number one problem I see about content. Content that wants to please everyone but doesn't please anybody. It has no flavor.
Yeah. Or smell.
Okay. Let's end it up there. And what's the next topic? Oh, good one. We're going to talk next time about duplicate content. Is there a penalty for duplicate content?
Duplicate content. Let's find out.
Laters.
Hi.